Welcome back to What Are Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a game that took place in the Sandbox, but sadly I wasn't able to get the recording done at the time, but now I'm able to. I'm just going to stop the countdown because I've just noticed that the settings are not on for colorblind. Always like to do that so that everyone can watch these videos. Okay, now this was rather interesting battle in the Sandbox. The M44 Tier 6 American SPG, and yeah, there's one other Arty on my team, an SU8. On the enemy team, they've got a Hummel and an M44. And if we look out, you can see that most of the players are bots. There's a couple of exceptions. On the enemy team, a Striv M4257, a T3485M, their Hummel and their M44. Everyone else is a bot. So there's the SU8. On our team, the non-bots in a T3485M, an SU100Y, the box tank, and myself in the SU8. Okay, ready to go. And I'm aiming towards the horseshoe. Always like to put a round in here because if somebody is coming up the horseshoe, and it is a live player, that one of their live players, it's always nice for them to get a bit of a surprise the moment they get to the top. I think he's about there. Rounds out. Unfortunately, the shell hits the ground. Still using standard ammo to start with. Okay, reloading. Rounds out on the T37, who's a bot. He does get splashed by 24 hit points. You can see that the alpha damage of these shells is 495. Normally it's 550. And penetration is 39, which is standard. But the burst radius is only 7 meters. The new explosions are actually quite big. You can see that. And they actually look quite spectacular, but they do kind of distract you. Okay, we're almost loaded. Going for the Achilles. Rounds out. He's moved. Yeah, he managed to avoid that one. Sometimes the bots can be a bit predictable. Okay, we've got a Hellcat, which is a bot. We're focusing on these bots here at the moment. The Achilles, the T37. Just missed the Achilles, but I stunned the T37. Unfortunately, the T3485M, who's a real player, just killed our MT25, a bot. Rounds out on the Achilles. Direct hit. Reload time is about 15.8 seconds. I've got the innovative rammer and the innovative GLD. Rounds out on the Hellcat. This time round I get 151 hit points from splash. Okay, Striv M4257, that's a live player, and he's out the game. And there's the other live player, the T3485M. That's the one that I supposed to hit on the horseshoe, but unfortunately it appears that I didn't get a piece of him. But let's have a look and see if I can do so here. Rounds out. Now I've got a piece of him. 133. Still firing standard ammo, but I might switch. Rounds out. Now I've got 2 and 1. I did think about, could I get a bombardier out of this one? They're so close together. Be rather nice if I could, but no, they've broken apart by the time I've aimed. Yep, he's gone. So that's my second kill. Lost sight of the T3485. The Churchill 7 on our team, who's a bot's pulled back, which means that I've got nobody to spot for me. But I could see the T3485 knocking over trees, so I know he's in the vicinity, but I'm going to have to get the hell out of here now. Change, because he's headed this way, and for a brief moment I actually saw, there he is, and he's very low on hit points, that guy. So I knocked down the camp, and moved over here, and I tried with the keys to tell the SU8 to pull away, so I actually stopped to give him the message, and he understood. Because if the T-3485 was coming up the hill, then he'd be the next. Unfortunately, the T-3485 just been killed, and I missed that. So asking him to move was a bit, well, superfluous. But, well, we're both headed for the same spot. So I decided I'd stop here. And there's some enemy tanks that I can aim at instead. A Churchill has appeared on the south route. Lost sight of him. There he is. Only 17 hit points. Oh, now that was my teammate in the SU-8 firing a heat round at the Churchill 7. I fired another standard round in his direction. I've actually loaded a premium round now, the more devastating ones, which are the still HE, but does 610 alpha, which is more than the 550 you get from an M44. But 59mm of penetration and no stun. Remember, that's no stun on this one. Okay, so the shell is loaded, but we've now got a bot, which is a Hellcat. So I've got to try and work out. That was a heat round from my teammate. And my round wipes out the Hellcat because he's got very thin armor. So, of course, it would do maximum damage if it struck, and it did. So that's my third kill. Okay, we've got a couple of enemy tanks coming in this direction. I'm loaded with the premium ammo, so I need to get direct hits if I'm going to do damage. I've got a bit of reticule bloom there because I'm right at the edge of my field. And, of course, because the round's got very little splash radius, you can see it's 4 meters, not 7. Normally it'd be 7. It's only got 4 now. So you have to get the shell very close to get damage with these rounds. Rounds out. Direct hit. Didn't pen. 133 is all I could get out of that. Remember, these are the ones that do much more damage. Haven't loaded the heat rounds yet, but rounds out. Lands behind him. I didn't give enough lead on that target. The VK is... well, he's very lightly armed, but he is a bot. Is he a bot? I think he is a bot, and yeah, he's moving about very defensively. Rounds out the KB-1S, and he got a fire. And I think he's going to burn to death. He has. So that bot's gone, but there is a T30 VK2801 over there. And there's the other VK. It was a very bad shot, that one. I'm loading standard HE again with the extra splash. It appears he's burnt his repair kit because he's now tracked and he can't move. I'm hoping I might be able to get around him before he fixes it, and he didn't. So he's out the game as well. That's my 5th kill. Okay, so we think that the VK2801 is over there. In fact, he moved and he's gone down the ramp towards the swamp. He stopped and he's going to come around. I just saw the RT tracer. You could just see the general vicinity of where they are. It looks like my SU-8 teammate got a direct hit on the VK, but it didn't kill him. I don't know which round he actually used. You can't tell that from the tracer, of course. Okay, and we've lost sight of him, but we can see this Churchill 7, the one we saw earlier. And rounds out, direct hit, 145. Still loading HE. In fact, it's my last HE round from now on. If I don't get a direct hit, then I'm going to have trouble trying to get damage on the enemy. VK just missed him. He's only got 65, but the VK on our team, who is a bot, took him out. So it's bot killing bot there. But we can see Arty was aiming in this direction, and well, that's only natural. There's only 4 of our team remaining. There's the KV-1S. Okay, it's the last... oh, there's 2 heavy tanks on the enemy team. Of course, that Churchill and this guy. He stopped. And now I have to use direct rounds, and the SU-8 finishes him off. And that was a real player killing a bot. Okay, the Achilles is coming up towards our cap area. Now, I thought I needed to get a bit further away, and I think I've, in a sense, made a mistake because I went towards the swamp area rather than actually going towards the further to the west, which would have been better, more preferable. But then if I went over here, I could spot for myself if all my teammates were wiped out. And there's only the VK2801 and the SU8 now. I'm trying to fire at the Achilles. Or is it the Achilles? No, that was the Churchill 7, sorry. Here's the Achilles. And I appear not to have a shot. I've got a red line. I'm loaded, but no, I've got no solution. Trying to get an auto aim. No, can't get an auto aim. So instead I'm going back to standard aim. Rounds out. Got a nice hit for 190. I'm surprised that didn't penetrate, because an Achilles has got only half-inch armor. So 12.75. So it should have gone straight through him. Nope, he's moved. And now I've got a red line again because there's rocks in the way, I think. Now I've got a green line. But if he goes behind that rock, it's going to be very difficult to hit him. Remember, this is a bot. Bots don't tend to cap often, but this one is capping. The Churchill 7 now. I probably should have just held my aim at this point, and I didn't. We lost the SU8, we lost the VK, so it's just me now. And I hit the Churchill 7, which did a reset. He's still capping. And he's no longer where he was, so he has moved, and now he's left the cap. So I've got a Churchill and an Achilles, and there's two Arty way back at their camp area. We know where their Arty are. So, oh, now I got a direct hit there. I thought that he pulled back, but I got spotted by the Achilles. And now we've got sound detection, and the Hummel took me out. Oh dear. Not exactly what we wanted, but you know, fair dues. I was all alone at that point. The Achilles did spot me because I was just too close to the front of the bush, or the edge of the bush, and the Achilles was within view range and could actually get a shot in. I'll just bring up the end of battle results now, and you'll be able to see what I managed to get. Here's the end of battle results, and yes, you can see I actually managed to get an ace tanker in this game. I also managed to get a fighter badge, arsonist, a bruiser medal, and on top of that I got a couple of, well, one battle hero medal and one epic medal. I got the high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, and a gauze medal for doing at least 8 times the hit points of my own vehicle. If we look at the team scores, we can see that, if I go to the next page, yep, 2,575 hit points of damage from that game. The next highest scorer was actually the Striv M4257 on the enemy team, 1,784, followed by their M44, who did 1,598 hit points. When it came to kills, it was myself. I got the highest with 5 kills. 3 kills went to the T3485M on the enemy team. That was the one, remember, I hit right at the start of the, well, supposedly hit at the start of the battle on the horseshoe, but then later got him a short while after he came out of the corner. And he was also joined by the VK2801, who also got 3 kills in that game. When it came to base XP, yes, in fact, actually, it was the enemy team who did the best in this one because, of course, they won the battle. 869 went to the T3485M, 774 went to their Striv M4257, and their M44 managed to get 644. If we look at the performance of the enemy Arty, we can see that the M44 did very well, 1,598. Not quite as well as I did, but then, there again, I do have a bit of an unfair advantage. And also the Hummel managed 835 hit points. Both of them got 1 kill. One of them ended up with 644 XP, the other one with 498. Again, considerably less than I would normally expect for an Arty. If you're a good Arty player, you should be able to get in the top 3 at the very least. Let's have a look at the details. 30 shots fired, 12 direct hits, 3 penetrations on the enemy. I think it did actually help that I used the second shell on some of those shots to actually get better penetration. I didn't use the third shell. Maybe I should have on a few of those shots because I was up against heavy tanks. But I did get 15 splash as well because the shells I was using did touch the enemy a few times. 2,575 hit points, all of it done at more than 300 meters. I received one hit, it was a penetration, and I also got one hit by way of splash damage. That came from the Hummel, and of course the other shot came from the Achilles. 8 enemy vehicles were damaged, 5 were killed, and I got 256 hit points of stun assist off 10 stuns and 68 seconds of stun. I earned 25,135 credits on a free-to-play account, 3,575 courageous resistance because I got an epic and a battle hero medal in a losing or drawn game, total of 28,710 credits altogether. And if you take off the consumables, you would actually show a profit of 8,710 credits for the game. Obviously, consumables normally would be, I would buy in bulk beforehand. So Wargaming are automatically deducting the credits out of your total to resupply the new one. And so, yes, even if you deducted 10,000 credits off that total, so you added it back in, yes, you would have still a loss on the game on a free-to-play account, but on a premium account, you would actually probably make a profit. So there you go. It's just having a premium account does actually benefit you more. So there you go. Those are the results for that epic battle that I had. I didn't think I would be able to record this, but yes, I found out a way of getting the rest of the sandbox battles that I tried down into videos. So over the next day or so, you'll see a few more of these coming out, sandbox test games. I'll try and do as many as I can so you can get a general feel for what I managed to experience. And of course, as I did say to my colleagues, that I'll try to give my summation of the overall effect of the sandbox. I do think it's bad. I think, as I've said in the British video, which you will see coming out shortly, I think it would be a very bad mistake for Wargaming to put these changes into effect, because I think that it would actually encourage a lot of Arty players to leave the game, and you don't want 20% of your customer base to go, because it's 20% of your profits are going to go as well, and yeah, that's not a good idea. So I think there's also that it's very unlikely that Arty players will be able to get high caliber scores. Certainly they won't be able to get bombardiers with a reduced splash radius, because you are getting a reduced splash radius and reduced damage. So a lot of medals that previously you would have been able to get, you probably won't get in the future. And remember that there are certain medals that you can't get anymore simply because they're no longer for Arty in a game. Well, if they reduce the amount of damage done by these shells, I think bombardier medals are going to go the way of the dodo. They're no longer going to be available to anyone, because I doubt that you'll be able to kill 2 tanks with one shot unless they are very, very low on hit points and they happen to be sitting right alongside each other when you fire. So yeah, it would be bad news, I think, very all round. There are some aspects that I do like. I do like the fact that you can quickly reload into a new shell if you want to change your mind after you've loaded. That's a good idea. I think if you were to include an armor penetrating round, you would have to massively increase the damage that it does. So if you increased it by a factor of 2.5, so a 203mm shell would do something like 1,500 hit points of damage. That would be more realistic. Certainly, you should be applying damage consistent with the damage that a heavy tank would do. So a 15 or 183mm shell on an FP4005 should be doing slightly less damage per shot than a 203mm armor piercing round would do. So just to give you an idea, really, because I think that's where it should be. So it's a bit disingenuous for Wargaming to actually give us a armor piercing round on a 203, which actually does less damage than a 183mm shell. In fact, it's damn ridiculous. And I think you would have seen on that shot where I actually analysed the shot, I fired a round at an E75. I should have penned it. According to the figures, I should have penned that E75 on his frontal plate. I got a direct hit and it didn't pen at all. And considering the angle that the shell was coming in at, it should have gone straight through him like a knife through butter. Now, that doesn't mean I haven't seen armor-piercing rounds bounce on tanks before. I remember one stream that Quickie Baby was playing. He had the T92 HMC on mines. He fired an armor-piercing round from the water's edge all the way up to the hill to a T110E5 who just crested the ridge, and he went to shell camera immediately after he fired the armor-piercing round. It literally bounced off the front plate of the E5 and went straight up in the sky, and he was following the view as it hit. So we all saw exactly where it hit the E5, and we all saw that the shell went skyward immediately afterwards. So yeah, that was quite amusing at the time. So we do know that an armor-piercing round, even a 24cm one, can bounce if it hits at the wrong angle. But on that E75 round, that shouldn't have bounced at all. That should have gone straight through the front plate of that vehicle and wiped him out completely. But there you go. That's this game. I will be bringing more games to the channel shortly, and we will go back to the original format for the page, including a weekly Bombardiers or bi-weekly Bombardiers video if I can get enough time together. But at this moment I'm not getting a lot of time for playing the game, and I do need to play the game whilst Battle Pass is on, because it's one of those things you have to do daily if you're going to get anywhere. Thanks for watching.